My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Hello, my friend. Who have you created yourself as? Like right now, in this moment. This is what we're exploring in the Curious Universe today. I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't know how far we could take this conversation in this format, but I am curious to explore this topic with you. It's been kind of something percolating in my world as I witness people that, there's some variations here, right? There are those that have constructed an image. Okay, so they have this image of who they present themselves to the world, and they want everyone to believe that it's real. And it creates a lot of reaction in different people, this whole image thing, right? But what about who you truly be beyond the image? And have you ever looked at the truth in which that you created who you be, who you show up as? I think growing up that I bought into this idea that I was already created. Like when I was born, there was a me that was created, and I had to find that me. And this, especially in my teenage years, I would write in the front of my journals, like, I am lost. And I was just like, I'm going to find me. I'm going to find this creation of me. But what I didn't realize is that I had already created myself, that I had continuously created myself for all the people around me. I created myself as quiet, to give the spotlight to my sisters that I felt needed it more than me. I created myself as generous because it was the very few times my father would compliment me was when I would sacrifice or give up something of myself. I created myself as a protector because I grew up in a very violent home. So I wanted to protect my sisters, protect my mom, protect everyone, even from themselves. I created myself as all of these things to kind of confront and to react to the world, and then that changed like through different years. And we often see teenagers or even preteens, depending, going through this whole, like, I don't know what I believe and I don't know what's true for me, and who do I want to be in the world. And I remember when I got pregnant, so I was almost 30 and pregnant with my first child, and I was like, wow, this is a whole new chapter of my life. And it was the first time I really looked at who I wanted to be, not who I thought I already was. Does that make sense? So it was the first like little glimmer of an acknowledgement that we create ourselves. Now we can let the world create us, like, for example, what I did, and I just described it to you on a silver platter. But we can also create ourselves, but not necessarily from creating an image. And you can do that too. Most often, image creates separation. Image can create a sense of separation from yourself. It will not have that genuine, authentic feel to it. And it's really hard to have vulnerability with anyone when you're functioning from image. Creating yourself is totally different. So I had created myself not only as all these things I described, the protector, the generous person, the quiet person. Um, I had also created a little bit of a rebel. I had created myself to match the status. So grew up really poor, and I had decided in my world that to be safe, when you're really poor, you have to be like kind of tough. So I created like a little bit of an edgy rebel kind of vibration to myself. Now, so here I am. Now I'm becoming a parent, and I'm like, what kind of parent would I like to be? Because I wasn't willing to just succumb to whatever was being directed at me. If you have ever been a new parent, then you know what I mean, because everyone has a point of view about the right way to parent and the wrong way to parent and the right way for you to be and the wrong way for you to be. And it's all just coming at you. And this was the first time in my life where it's like, I will not just become what other people need of me here. It was just too important to me, because I had been dreaming about being a mom since I was like, I don't know, 10 probably. Story for another time. That was because of a little entity. But I knew that I wanted to really look at what kind of parent I wanted to be. So I kind of wrote a list. I'm like, I want to be patient with my kids and with myself. I want to be present as a parent and engaged with my kids. I wanted to create, I wanted to be the kind of parent that had a closest with their kids, but also a sense of being the parent, not just the friend. So they had that sense of, I have a parent that's taking care of things and handling things. So I kind of wrote my list of all these things that I desired to be as a parent. And I didn't know I was doing this at the time, but it actually, like, through the process of pregnancy, which gives you a nice chunk of time, I became that person. And then through like the early motherhood years, I became even greater than I imagined I could be. And looking back, it's really quite beautiful and amazing, because there were times where the image of parent did come up, right? I desired to like be that perfect parent that always had the band-aids and the snacks and the things going on. But mostly I was actually just creating who I wanted to be. And that image melted pretty quickly, because for me, it was kind of impossible to be who I wanted to create myself as with this image in place. So that's one example. But what about you? Like, what about maybe not even parenting? And not even where it has to do with someone else, like what kind of wife do you want to be? What kind of husband do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be in the world is more what I'm looking at. Like, what kind of person are you that you've created yourself as right now? And what kind of person would you like to be? And what if you could actually create yourself as anything? Because as an infinite being, and that's what you are, we are everything. We're all energies. We are, selfish bitches. We are mean and vicious, and we are generous and beautiful, and we are present, and we are checked out. Like, we are all of it. And if you really acknowledge that you are everything, then there's nothing you can't be. What would you like to be in the world? Would you like to be a leader? Would you like to be the best support that has ever been? Would you like to be a pioneer for an innovator for new adventures, new technology, new things in the world? Would you like to have a quiet life? Would you like to engage with the world? Would you like to be known? Would you like to be famous? What would you like to truly create yourself as? And what, if anything, about you that you don't enjoy? Okay, so one thing, like, looking at like conditioning, right? So as I created myself based on everyone's needs of me, there have been aspects of quote unquote me that I haven't really liked. And part of that was judgment, and I got over that, which is great. Part of that was me not seeing the strongness of me. And I did a whole episode on like, what if everything's wrong about you is a strongness about you? Okay, there's that piece too. But also what I realized is there were certain things I created myself as to meet other people's needs that I just didn't want to be anymore. That it wasn't joyful for me. It didn't give me a sense of like being me. And like I said, we are all energy, so it is me in a sense, but the space that my being occupies changes, just like yours. So as I was like stepping into being a mother, that my space was changing, who I was becoming was changing. And then I created that being. And then when I became a business owner, that changed for me too. I asked myself, what kind of employer would I like to be when I started hiring staff? And at first I looked at all the things I didn't like that other employers had done to me. And then I looked at the things that I liked that that employers had done for me, with me. And then I looked at things that had never occurred. I'd never seen anyone do it, but I'm like, this would be really cool. This would be really beautiful. This would be really empowering. Wow, I want to be like that. I would like to be an employer that's like that. And then I became that with every choice I made. And I looked at like, does this actually match who I'd like to be? And again, not the image of like boss lady, but the being I would really, how I'd like to be and show up as being. Now, cognitively, what I'm saying might seem like the exact same thing. Energetically, I'm sharing with you a universe of possibilities that is so very, very different than that creating that image. It's you can actually create who you be in the world. So who would you truly like to be in the world that you've never allowed yourself to be? Oh, and anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bad, all natures, voice, poets, meows. That is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. If you're new to the show, please go to theclearingstatement.com if you'd like a beautiful explanation on what that magical set of words is. But today we're just gonna use it as if you know it. Just for time's sake. So who would you actually like to be? If you could create yourself as anyone, would you like to be happy? Would you like to create yourself as a happy, playful, joyful person? Would you like to create yourself as more serious? Would you like to create yourself as someone who's really in communion with the earth? Would you like to create yourself as someone who's really vulnerable? Would you like to, like, do you see these different possibilities? And these are energies I'm pointing out to you, not images I'm pointing out to you. Because when you look, and I think this was the problem when I was trying to find myself as a kid, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm looking at like, am I like these people? Am I goth? Am I like a rebel? And I'm trying to match myself to different images, like as if I could just fit into these boxes. And I never could, not completely, which was frustrating, because I kind of thought that that was the answer, the solution to my problems. Um, I could fulfill people's needs, even if they wouldn't ever be grateful for it. And that's something that I did for a very long time. And when I started to undo that, like really undo that as who I am, as the need pleaser, as the need deliverer, it started to unravel like aspects of me that were locked out from this creation of me that did not vibrate from the space of the being that I had become. Yeah. So what if you could create yourself new every day? There's a question that we ask in Access Consciously Love It. And Gary and Dane recommend every morning waking up and going, who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventures am I going to have? Because you can truly create yourself new every day. You can create who you'd like to be. You don't have to have any aspect of you that you're like, oh, I just wish I would stop doing that, or I wish that this would be different about me. You're not solid. You're not a structure. You are an ever-evolving magical creature. So how do you start? How do you start actually exploring that? Well, one is listen to this podcast again. Okay. Ask those questions. Play with the question of who would you like to be that you never imagined you could be, that you truly can. See what energies show up when you ask those questions. Explore who you'd like to be. And sometimes it is like observing the world and being like, oh, like that energy, like that energy, like that energy. And other times it's actually just going in more into you. And also I have a telecall coming up that I want to invite you to. We'll put links in the details and links in the description below if you'd like to join me for a further exploration on this topic. I would love to see what is possible with us creating ourselves as the miracles we truly are in the world. I hope to see you there, and I will see you in the next episode of the Curious Universe podcast. Thank you for exploring the Curious Universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?